What's going on, everybody? C4 here. Welcome back to the channel. And yes, we're hitting you with a double dose of flashback pink slips. Yesterday night, we dropped Super Bowl XL, the Oilers and the 49ers. If you haven't seen that episode, go watch it right now. It was definitely top 5 games we have had and been able to post on the channel here in Madden 20. But the follow-up from that is we won the Super Bowl. We had great things. We saw great things happen for everyone on this team, but we're at the end of the road. We are at, this team is as good as it's gonna get. We have our X factors. It's overpowered. It's the best team in the league, and we agreed in the comments that when we became the best team in the league, we were going to, we were going to change it up. We were going to retire from the Oilers and move on to a brand new team. And I've decided what I'm going to do for sure, but the downside of that is I want it to be a relocation team again. I want to keep reinventing ourselves. We're adding brand new content to the channel. But the downside of relocating a team here in Madden 20 is you pretty much have to lose a whole year for that relocation process. You got to go pick one of the 31 remaining teams, and then that whole year you pretty much waste it away so you can relocate the following offseason. I want that to be a surprise. I want it to be exciting. So what we're going to see here today is a little final send-off to the Oilers. We'll look at all the stats and stuff like that. But we are going to get through the 06 offseason. So we're going to have 2006 free agency. We're going to have the 2006 draft. We're going to see where all those big fun players end up going, like the Mario Williams and the Reggie Bushes and the Vince Youngs. We're going to go through the 06-07 season, just showing you the Oilers. We're just going to straight up sim it all and just, kind of pay attention maybe to the playoffs and stuff like that. But essentially, this episode is just going to kind of get through everything we need to for the relocation when all is said and done to be ready. So that for the next episode, we can kick off Season 2 of Flashback Pink Slip. So, that's what, it makes sense, right? It's not overly confusing. We're just going to essentially sim a full year with the Oilers, and behind the scenes, the relocation process is going to be going on for the brand new team that we're going to use for Flashback Pink Slips. Makes sense? Let's get into it. Take a look at the 2006 free agency period. There's some big names here, but more so on the veteran side of things. Will Shields, Takeo Spikes, Larry Allen, Warren Sapp. Look at the ages. In the 30s, all these guys are well up into their 30s. Derek Brooks. So these guys are legends for sure. Derek Kyler's a quarterback. We got Fred Taylor. But ultimately, as we've kind of, obviously we don't want to sign anyone really because we're going to be simming the year. But we generally haven't signed any free agents throughout the Flashback Pink Slip series. That's going to continue here. But, some teams are going to make some really nice veterans for that 06-07 season. Look at where some of the big names in free agency went. Jeff Garcia, he's still at X Factor, went to the Baltimore Ravens. Tiki Barber, a lot of these guys are veterans, but there's still, there's still some name value and there's some general on-field value. Tiki Barber went to the Arizona Cardinals. Fred Taylor leaving the Jags and going to the Panthers. Samari Roll to the Bucks. David Carr to the Panthers. We got some veteran linemen there. Langston Walker probably was the best free agent at 27.84, formerly of the Raiders, now of the Saints. Derek Brooks in Kansas City. Bryant McKinney, actually, he's probably the best one. Bryant McKinney. All right, he was in the Heisman voting when he was at the U. 86 superstar going to the Denver Broncos. Eric Barton going to the Marshals. Michael Strahan going to the Browns. Warren Sapp to the Lions. Larry Allen to the Falcons. Takeo Spikes to the Jets. And the Marshals looking to make a push within the division, landing veteran superstar guard Will Shields, formerly of the Kansas City Chiefs. So I might as well make our change here. We'll show the draft as we are going through it as your defending Super Bowl champion Houston Oilers with the new rules that we have put into place, which means if we want a player, right, we can draft them in the round. Like the old rules where if we wanted a player, regardless of what the green little diamonds tell you, what their true talent is, we had to draft a player in the round that they were projected to go in. And while that does make sense, while it does kind of handicap us from just straight up picking all the best teams and having a super team every single draft, I did notice over the last 2 drafts that we were pretty much missing on any player that was good in their projected round, and we're just picking up UDFA. So if we went with the old rules, I would get a guy in the first round here, but then pretty much for the most part, I'd be getting UDFAs. I'd get a Marcus Colston, I'd get Tremont Williams, I'd get Brent Grimes, Ahmad Brooks, but I'd be missing on all these other players because I'd have to wait to the projected round. So the change that we're going to be making is from now on, regardless of projected round, we go by the true talent grade. If they are a first round true talent, we have to use a first round pick. If they are a second round, I have to use a second round, regardless of where their projection's going. This should help us in terms of not just loading our team up with priority UDFAs and actually getting guys that got drafted. But we are looking pretty good right now in the first round. A lot of options here. Looking at the strengths and weaknesses of this Oilers team. Brent Grimes is really interesting. I would argue corner for the first round is where we're looking. Whitworth is a really nice prospect, but we don't need a tackle. Delaney Walker, really nice prospect. We do not need a tight end. We don't need a wide receiver. We could use another running back. I'm thinking the pick is really between Reggie Bush, Maurice Jones-Drew, and way down here at Brent Grimes. But looking really at our team, we don't have that third corner. So we are going to make our pick here at 32, Brent Grimes out of Shippensburg. UDFA comes out number 23 in true talent, 71 hidden dev. Good athlete, but everyone knows Brent Grimes. Aggressive slot corner is going to complement what we have here in Lito Shepherd and Antoine Winfield. We're going for small corners here, aggressive guys that make plays with their IQ and less with their length. The second round for the Oilers, we got a couple guys, no one really in true round outside of Bernard Pollard, but we got Antoine Bethea could be in play, Owen Daniels could be in play, Marcus Cole. So now we're going to go Owen Daniels because, let's be honest, Shannon Sharp for the memes is great. I kind of want that second tight end weapon after Jason Witten. So we're going to get Owen Daniels. Had a really nice productive career with the Houston Texans. I think he finished with the Denver Broncos. He was always solid. A really, really good receiver, even though he's a blocking archetype. We're going to bring him in to be the backup. He's number 45 in true talent, 69 hidden dev. Owen Daniels to come play as a nice tandem with Jason Witten. The draft recap here for the Oilers in our final Oilers draft. You saw Brent Grimes. You saw Owen Daniels. We finished up. We got Tramon Williams, who's a 66 hidden dev. We got John Austin, 60, not great. Ahmad Brooks, 64 hidden dev. We got Miles Austin, the 6th round, 62 hidden dev. And then we got just one with speed with that final 7th round pick. And Devin Arushmadu out of Auburn, 6'2", coming in 95 speed, 94 acceleration, has the fastest 40-yard dash time. So again, as always with these drafts, obviously you see with some mid-round picks, Tramon Williams, Ahmad Brooks, and Miles Austin, who we should, if you've been a football fan for 10 years now, you remember a lot of these names. Even though we do know their names, and they have a dev trait, they're not ridiculously overpowered from their overall standpoint. You definitely need to utilize these players, grow and develop them. It's one of my favorite things about the flashback franchise rosters is you can get steals, but they don't come out as their final form. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna have to hit the ground running with them, but the dev trait and the upside and ceiling is there that if you utilize Tramon Williams, very soon, he will start to look like the Tramon Williams that was very, very good for the Green Bay Packers and still, really up to last year, was an ageless wonder in the NFL and a Pro Football Focus darling. So, really solid final draft here. We're going to be leaving the Oilers with a nice crop of depth guys that should be able to grow and develop. We're getting a draft recap, kind of seeing where the big players actually went. Looking at the Chicago Bears, they got themselves their new franchise quarterback, hopefully, in Vince Young. The Buffalo Bills also had a pretty exciting draft with their 2 top picks, Tom Bahali and Maurice Jones-Drew. I think pretty much all these guys are going to be showing you do have hidden dev traits for what it's worth. We have the Chargers here who got Vernon Davis, a.k.a. the man with the most crazy combine. We got his face scan in here as well. But the greatest combine I've ever seen from a single athlete in Vernon Davis. Mario Williams went number 1 overall here to the Detroit Lions. If you remember this draft, this was actually the first draft, this 06 draft, that I actually started kind of paying attention to the draft. And this was the draft where I think the Houston Texans had the first overall pick. And it was the whole thing was like, they have to go Reggie Bush. Reggie Bush this, Reggie Bush that, Heisman winner, electrifying player. And then I know where they went Mario Williams. And that debate kind of went on. And I think it was like one of the, we now think about the Houston Texans and meme because of Bill O'Brien, all the bad decisions. But I think really for the first big pick of like the second wave of the Houston Texans, a couple years after they were done being an expansion team, them going Mario Williams at 1 over Reggie Bush was an incredibly smart decision and kind of was counterculture, kind of going against the grain of what everyone in the media thought they should do. And they actually look like smartasses with that move. So they got Mario Williams, but in the save, he has gone to the Detroit Lions. Going down here to the Carolina Panthers, this was actually something. They got Ernie Sims, nice linebacker, but they actually got D'Angelo Williams back. Really nice running back out of Memphis, 74 with a hidden dev trade. It's always kind of weird when the flashback franchise teams pick who they actually picked in real life. We have on the New Orleans Saints, they got big Andrew Whitworth, one of the best players in this draft class, 77 hidden dev. Local guy staying home with the LSU Tigers. It's, you know, it's a solid draft for them. We have the Seattle Seahawks. Actually had a pretty interesting draft. They got Chad Greenway, who had a really, really long career at the Minnesota Vikings, but he comes with a hidden dev. You got Lendale White for the memes. If you don't remember Lendale White, just go look up the Smash and Dash when he was in Tennessee with Chris Johnson. It was pretty funny. And then they got Elvis Dumervil here in the 4th round. He's probably the one guy in this draft that I kind of wanted to land with the Oilers as a final parting gift, because Elvis Dumervil's stats, if you want to go look at mind-boggling numbers, go look at Elvis Dumervil's production from Louisville. It was insane. He was a sack machine. So that's a really big get there for the Seattle Seahawks. And we're going to finish up here with the Minnesota Vikings. They got one of the best names ever in D'Brickashaw Ferguson as the franchise tackle. They got Reggie Bush, insane value in the 2nd round, 72 hidden dev. I mean, human joystick, he is insane. They got Bernard Pollard, a.k.a. the Patriot Killer. You remember this guy? He was just on Baltimore. He was an absolute headhunter. They got Pecco. In terms of name value, the Minnesota Vikings, as they tend to do in real life, had an outstanding draft. Like I said, this is pretty much just legwork to get through the relocation process of our new team. So we're just going to start, I'll just talk to you now, and we're going to sim right to the end of the season. And by end of the season, I mean we're going to go to the playoffs. We'll go right to the playoffs to see where we're at. Here is your Oiler team as we get ready. This is going to be their final send-off, like, you know, in honor of The Last Dance, that awesome Netflix ESPN documentary about the Chicago Bulls. This is going to be The Last Dance. That's what I'm going to title it, The Last Dance of the Houston Oilers, as we complete the relocation process. I mean, this team is absolutely stacked. 85 overall offense across the board. I remember, you know, we got Jeff Saturday late. If you weren't really paying attention to the playoff run, we got Jeff Saturday. We got Jason Peters late just to really stock out that O-line. Obviously, because we were simming, it should go without saying that we're not going to be gaining or losing players. So it's not really a true pink slip season, even though, you know, it kind of is. The defense is built up really, really nice, man. I'm going to tell you, I guess I could say as we move on, you know, we did build this team a lot of times during the draft, getting players that I liked. Obviously, we got players I wasn't a huge fan of, you know, for various reasons of my football fandom. I mean, I never really liked Jeff Saturday. I hated everyone on the Colts. Logan Mankins was a Patriot. I don't really like the Patriots. Don't like Jason Witten. Don't like Eli Manning. But for every one of those, I got guys that I love. Like, you know, it's going to suck not being able to have Jason Peters unless we could find a way to win him eventually. I like Willie Parker a lot with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Andre Johnson is one of my favorite players in league history. If I'm making an all-star team of starting lineup of my favorite players ever position, Andre Johnson absolutely, he might not be wide receiver 1, but he's absolutely making that wide receiver spot. And on the defensive side, you could, you know, again, players that I have, you know, I love. James Harrison, Trent Cole, Sean Merriman, Ed Reed. We brought in Lito Shepard, getting a little Eagle vibe for you there. So this is going to be a good final send-off here. And it does pain me that so many of my favorite players, I might not ever get to play with them again here in this flashback franchise. But without further ado, we're just going to sim through this entire 2006-2007 season so that behind the scenes, the relocation process can go on. And more importantly, we can have the last dance for the Houston Oilers. So here's going to be our preview of the 07 draft. This could really be the last you're going to see it, because by the time you see these guys again, we'll be with our brand new team in Season 2 of Pink Slips. But the 07 draft had a lot of talent. I mean, at the quarterback spot, it's not going to be well regarded. Jamarcus Russell and Brady Quinn both didn't really ever pan out. Let's be completely honest there. But, you know, it's not a good year to need a quarterback. AP, it's a great year to need a running back. Adrian Peterson, Marshawn Lynch, both first-round caliber type players. A couple role players here. We get to the UDF ace, Pierre Thomas, Ahmad Bradshaw. Solid guys for sure. Laurent McClain was a beast as a fullback. I remember him doing the thing for, I think it was Houston and Baltimore. Megatron is there. He's obviously the big, massive name of the group, but there's still a lot of talent at wide receiver. Ted Ginn, Dwayne Bowe, Anthony Gonzalez, Sidney Rice, James Jones. Remember Mike Sims Walker had a couple big years for the Jacksonville Jaguars. We got Steve Breston, 1,000-yard receiver with the Arizona Cardinals during the when they were really, really good there with Kurt Warner as their quarterback, the Super Bowl era. Tight end, we got G-Reg with that third leg, Greg Olson, Zach Miller, Brent Selleck. Really much there's UDFA. O-line, you got Joe Thomas, Beast. Doug Free played pretty well. We got the guy that makes works on Madden now, Clint Oldenburg. Cool. Will he see this video? Will he promote my content? Who knows? Let's look at the inside here. Ryan Khalil, Satele from Hawaii is pretty good. Rest of the guard, Ben Grubbs was solid. Manny Ramirez was solid. Rest of the tackle, Joe Staley just retired. You get Marshall Yanda, moved into guard, became one of the best guards in the NFL. Probably gonna make the Hall of Fame with the with his good time with the Baltimore Ravens. Lamar Woodley, solid. Gaines, did he die? Was he the guy that died? I can't remember. Charles Johnson had a couple big years with the Carolina Panthers. Brian Robinson played really well for the Minnesota Vikings. The tackle, Okoye, I remember he was like the youngest player ever drafted when he decided to come out. Mebane, good run stuffer. Soliai, good run stuffer. Just continue to go through all the names. Lots of free agents. Lawrence Timmons, Paul Posluszny. Those guys had some really nice careers in the NFL. We're not seeing a lot of good UDFAs here. Pat Willis, freak of nature, middle linebacker. Years ahead of his time. He'd be the perfect linebacker in today's NFL. He was that goddamn good of an athlete. We have right outside linebacker John Beeson was good. David Harris. John Beeson, another member. You got G-Reg with that third leg, the 7th floor clue. I think John Beeson was also on that track. Hopped on that track, spitting hot fire. Can't repeat any of the lyrics, though. Get demonetized. We got Darrell Revis, Leon Hall. Terrell Brown's pretty solid. William Gay, Corey Graham. Some more, versatility guys down there at the bottom. At the top end, some really, really good corners. In obviously Revis Island, man, he's definitely one of the big players from this draft. Laurent Landry, the biggest arms in the NFL. Reggie Nelson, Merriweather had good careers. Deshaun Golson was solid for the 49ers for a couple seasons. We got Michael Griffin, Eric Weddle. I will say there's not a lot of, James Hedabah had a pretty good season. I can't remember where he had his big year with. I remember he had a breakout season. I don't think it was with the Lions. It might have been, but there's not a lot of UDFA talent here. That's worth talking about. That's for sure. But top end, man, I mean, I don't know what pick we're going to have with our brand new team, but I would love to kick off that regime with a Calvin Johnson, with a Joe Thomas, with an Adrian Peterson, with a Patrick Willis, with a Beast Mode, with a Darrell Revis, something like that. Give me a top 10 pick, please, team, that you don't know what they are yet. So at the end of the 2006-2007 season, trying to defend their Super Bowl, the Houston Oilers secured a first-round bye. The team is up to an 88 overall, 89 offense, 87 defense. We're trying to really look at the breakdown. I mean, no one's entered the 99 club, but it's just well-rounded team. This team's absolutely stacked. No dev traits because that just doesn't happen. But from top to bottom, I think there's a reason why they've secured a first-round bye. This is a truly elite team. Brent Grimes, the first pick we made for them, came out superstar dev trait, which is just yet another freakishly talented player to add to the defensive side of the ball. Statistically, Eli Manning, 3,400 yards, 30 touchdowns, 7 picks. Pretty solid. We got under 1,000 yards here for Willie Parker. Definitely disappointing if we were actually playing it. Willie Parker is a focal point of our offense. He would have definitely went over 1,000. Andre Johnson dipped in production just a little bit, 830 yards, 8 touchdowns. But he did get himself a new contract. 9 touchdowns for Jason Witten looks pretty good. Dante Hall has definitely emerged himself in the offense, 674 and 6. Defensively, Vilma led the team with 120 tackles, 7 TFLs, 2 sacks, 2 picks, 12.5 sacks, James Harrison, 11 from Julian Peterson, who is the player that the Oilers won in the Super Bowl victory over the 49ers. 7.5 sacks, Trent Cole, 6 for Al Hainsworth, 4 for Sean Merriman, couple picks across the board. Your league MVP is Air McNair for the Dallas Cowboys. Game of the playoffs here in the divisional round for the Oilers, looking to defend their crown, is against an 8-8 Buffalo Bills team that is a lot better than what their record shows. Looking at the developmental players they got with X Factors, London Fletcher, Eric Moulds, and Keith Newman. And on the superstar standpoint, you got Lance Briggs, Tamba Hali, Terrence McGee, who actually I think spent a lot of time with the Buffalo Bills. So it is definitely not going to be a walk in the park. And we know this team plays when we flip on the sim. But hopefully we can at least get back to the AFC Championship game here in 2006-07. Come on, boys. Let's get the job done here. I know I'm leaving you. It's the last dance. But you want to go on top. I'm pretty sure, spoiler alert, in the Bulls documentary, I'm pretty sure they win the Larry O'Brien trophy in the final year of Michael Jordan, that 98 season. So hopefully we can do the same here with the Houston Oilers. It will come to fruition. We're playing very well in the first half. Defense has yet to give up a touchdown. Offensively, they're moving the ball well. We're getting touchdowns, which is where we've struggled in the past. In the sim, Eli Manning has just not been efficient at finishing drives. We settled for a lot of field goals, and that is not going to be the case here today, as we have pulled ahead here. Just utter dominance in all facets of the game. 28-14, we knock off the Buffalo Bills. Eli Manning, 82% completion percentage, 3 touchdowns, almost 153 yards for Willie Parker, as the Oilers are moving on to the championship game. Conference championship, it's the Kansas City Chiefs, a team that we are very familiar with. If there had to be a team, I would argue, that was an out-of-division rival since we've been the Houston Oilers, I could say it would be the Kansas City Chiefs. Tony G, Priest Holmes, Aaron Rodgers, they got Derek Brooks in free agency, they drafted Nick Mangold, who I'm sure is going to emerge as one of the best centers in the National Football League. A very explosive roster. It's going to be Rodgers, it's going to be Eli Manning, back-to-back years, going head-to-head with the Super Bowl on the line. All right, let's go, man. Come on. Chance to play for the Super Bowl on the line, and Kansas City strikes first, getting a touchdown. We're able to get a field goal to kind of chunk into that lead just a little bit. But here we go, man. We're getting into that cycle where we are just settling for field goals. And you know who's not? The Kansas City Chiefs aren't. But we're down 4 going into the second half. Defense is getting a little bit gassed here. All the momentum is for the Kansas City Chiefs. And unless we have an outstanding fourth quarter here, this might be the end of the road. There it is. I mean, they're fighting, but there we go. The last dance ends in the AFC Championship game, trying to defend their Super Bowl title. Aaron Rodgers, got Javon Curse there, Priest Holmes, Tony Gonzalez, just a little too much. Just a little too much offensively. Eli Manning did not have a particularly good game. 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Priest Holmes dominated on the ground, almost 5 yards a carry. This guy, Kenyon Rambo, over 12. This guy feasted. Must be their slot guy. He absolutely feasted. They got Jason Avant there, Eagle legend. Greg Wesley with the pick. I mean, that's, not everything's got to have a happy ending. And things end here for the last dance for the Houston Oilers. Going deep, making the playoffs, fighting valiantly to defend that Super Bowl crown, but falling just a little bit short here in the championship game. 37-20 against Aaron Rodgers and the Kansas City Chiefs. So the Super Bowl has concluded. The Seahawks outdueled the Kansas City Chiefs 38-21 to win their first Super Bowl, because obviously we're in behind where the Legion of Boom era would have been. So congratulations to the Seattle Seahawks. Let's kind of finish up this Oilers segment, season 1 of Flashback Pinks, by kind of looking back at all the stats and stuff, the career to date for a lot of our big time players and popular players from the Houston Oilers. The career stats look pretty solid. Remember Ryan Leaf was our starting quarterback, for God's sakes. The bust out of Washington State. But Eli Manning, well on his way to living up to the expectations that he kind of has from where we are in this sim to where he is in real life. 12,000 yards, 100 touchdowns, 31 picks, only 3 years. 100 touchdowns in only 3 years? That's insanity. Willie Parker is continuing to develop and got his X factors up to a 79 overall. Obviously, one of the personal fan favorites. One of our projects, we drafted him. He was in like the low 60s, and we made him into an absolute beast. Over 110 yards per game in his career. He should finish as one of the all-time greats as well. Receiving, Hodges, that's probably just edited someone else. Andre Johnson, 4 years, averaging 1,000 yards, 10 touchdowns a season. Can't ask for a lot more than that. I mean, we've got a lot of players along the way. Jason Witten, we also drafted and brought him into the league. Almost 300 catches, 3,200 yards, 29 touchdowns. Already a superstar X Factor. Willie Parker, look at even dangerous, man. Willie Parker still has 121 catches, 1,300 yards, 5 touchdowns through the air. Just unbelievably dynamic, but definitely Andre Johnson, Jason Witten are the 2 big receivers that we've had for quite some time. On the defensive side, Albert Hainsworth got 82 sacks right now, 72 TFLs. He's been a beast. We won Ed Reed. Winfield spent a lot of time with us. I would more so look at James Harrison. He's up to 38.5 sacks right now in his career, 65 TFLs. Obviously, some of these numbers are a little bit off because you had to modify players to make the roster. But and also, generally, we haven't had dominant corners or anything like that. That's probably the one position we never really had to worry about drafting and developing our own, because we've had the luxury of having a Deltha O'Neal, Lito Shepard, Antoine Winfield, winning guys like that. So it's been huge. Seabass, he's going to be another guy we're going to miss, man. Unbelievable leg. We got the cannon. I don't know what his kick power is at. 98 kick power. We got an 88 career field goal percentage rate. That's insanity. That is absolute insanity. And I'm going to miss these guys, man. I'm going to miss it. This has definitely been the best rendition of Pink Slips that we've done on the channel. We've done it 3-4 different years. I don't know how many exactly, combining flashback. But it's not over. This is just the end of Season 1. Season 2, today is what, Wednesday night? I'm getting pretty late. It's almost 7 o'clock my time. I got to upload this video. But Season 2, I'm going to say... I'm going to probably drop a teaser Thursday, Friday, and the first Season 2 episode will kick off Sunday. But we're not here. It's the last dance for the Houston Oilers. And what a run it was. Super Bowl title, going out on an AFC Championship. And now, with the team that we move on to, you know, they're going to be a powerhouse. They're going to be the juggernaut. They're going to be the premier team that we're going to have to try to beat. And I'm going to take great pleasure and great pride in taking on this Oilers team that we have built into an absolute damn near dynasty and trying to get back a couple of my players. I want Willie Parker back on my new team. I want Andre Johnson. I want Dante Hall. I want Jason Witten, all coming on my new team. But we're going to have to go in and do it. And it's going to be a monumental task to take on the Houston Oilers. What a task and challenge that I'm up to. Well, that'll do it from here today, guys. Thank you for watching. As always, if it's your first time stopping by, you definitely want to stay tuned for the kickoff of Season 2. You're not going to want to miss it. I guarantee it's going to be one of the coolest things you've ever seen done in Madden 20. Madden in general. So that does it for me.